Hi, my name is Quinn, and I'm the Early Literacy Coordinator with Newfoundland and Labrador Public Libraries. For today's Library Lit Bit, I wanted to share with you a draw and tell story. This story is called No Pets Allowed, and it's written by Richard Thompson. I love to share draw and tell stories, and I like to encourage caregivers to do some oral storytelling or tell stories with their children. By telling and retelling stories, it helps children with their comprehension or understanding of a story, and it also helps them to understand story structure. So it's a really nice activity to do with your young one to help them get ready to learn to read. So let's get started with our story. Our story starts with Jimmy. Now, Jimmy was a young boy who wanted a pet more than anything in the world. And it didn't matter what kind of pet it was. He just wanted a pet so very badly. But Jimmy knew that having a pet was a really big responsibility. And he knew that he had to ask his mother if a pet was something he was going to get. So he went and asked his mom. He said, "Mom, I'd really love to get a pet. Do you think we could have a pet?" And Mom said, "Well, I don't know, Jimmy. We live in this tiny apartment building and our home is actually owned by someone else. So we're going to have to check with our landlord." And there's that lovely apartment building there. So Jimmy and his mom went and talked with the landlord. And the landlord brought them outside and he showed them all of the plants that were out front of the apartment building. He said, "Jimmy, look at all of these beautiful plants. It has taken us so many years to have them grow to this size. And I really worry that if you got a pet, let's say a cat, it would dig in the dirt and ruin the plants. Or if you got a dog, it might try to bury its bones there." So the landlord said, "I'm so sorry, Jimmy, but I'm going to have to tell you that there are no pets allowed in this building." Jimmy was so disappointed. So he and his mother went back inside and Jimmy started to brainstorm. He thought, what other kind of pet could I get? He said no cats, no dogs, but maybe a gerbil would be a good idea. So he asked his mom, how about a gerbil? And Mom said, "No pets allowed." You heard the landlord. So Jimmy thought, okay, maybe something without fur. What about a snake? Can we get a snake as a pet? And Mom said, "No pets allowed." So Jimmy started thinking even more. He thought, okay, what if I got something even smaller? What if I got a spider? Spiders are very quiet. They could be very small. They don't make any noise. But Mom said, "No pets allowed." So Jimmy thought maybe something aquatic, like one of those frogs, those aquatic frogs. Can we get an aquatic frog as a pet? It lives in a tank. But Mom said, "I'm sorry, Jimmy, no pets allowed." Now, it didn't help that everywhere that Jimmy walked, he would see his friends. And all of his friends had pets. Maggie had a wonderful dog that she would walk. His friend Joe had a parrot that would sit right on his shoulder and call out, "Wah!" as he walked down the road. And Sally had a lovely, silky Himalayan cat that wore a little cat harness and walked around. Jimmy was heartbroken. All of his friends had pets. It seemed like everyone in the entire planet had a pet except him. So he continued to walk along and was feeling quite sad. His head was down like we often walk when we're feeling kind of sad or upset. And as he walked, he saw laying there a toonie. So he went over to the toonie and he picked it up. And he thought, oh goodness, what can I get with $2 whole? And then he had a great idea. He'd run down to the pet store, head on inside, and see if he could maybe buy a pet. So he burst through the pet store doors and he said, good sir, what kind of pet can I get for a toonie? And the pet store owner said, well, you're in luck because today we have for sale a fish in a bowl for only $2. The fish and the bowl. What a steal of a deal. So Jimmy purchased the fish and the bowl and he went home. Now he knew that he wasn't allowed pets, but he thought it's just a tiny fish in a teeny tiny goldfish bowl. It won't be a big deal. But as soon as he got home and Mom saw that fish, what did she say? No pets allowed. Jimmy, you're going to have to go back down to that pet store and return your fish. So Jimmy went all the way back to the pet store and he said, excuse me, I need to make a return. And the pet store owner was like, I'm sorry, no refunds here. You're going to have to keep that fish. So Jimmy started to think he was in a little bit of trouble. He couldn't keep the fish and he couldn't return it. So he continued walking past the pet shop and he noticed a nice big lake. And he got a great idea. He decided he would let his goldfish go in the lake. Now, side note, you should never let a goldfish or any other pet outside into the wild. They're meant to live inside. So he probably would have been better if he had rehomed his goldfish somewhere else. But Jimmy made an unwise choice and let his goldfish go in the lake. And he went back home and he was very disappointed. He really knew that a pet just wasn't something that was going to happen for him. So time went on, and eventually Jimmy and his mother moved. They packed up all of their belongings. They took a ferry across the lake and then drove all the way through the countryside until they came to a nice big house on a big piece of farmland. And Jimmy thought, oh, maybe this is my chance. Perhaps I will get that pet I always dreamed of. But as he went outside, he noticed the same bushes that were outside of the apartment building. And he thought, oh no, I wonder if this means I won't be able to get a pet. But he had to ask his mom anyway, just to try. So he went to his mom and he said, Mom, we live in this big house out in the countryside. Can I please get a pet? And Mom said, yes. So Jimmy was able to get a pet. And so he went down and started to walk along the stream by the house and think about all of the pets he could get. As he walked to the edge of the stream, he noticed something crawling in the grasses by the water. As soon as he saw it, he said, that will be the perfect pet. What did he find? Can you tell by our picture here? It was a little baby alligator. I don't know if that's a perfect pet. Maybe not a great indoor pet. But that was our story, No Pets Allowed. I hope you join us again for our next Library Lit Bit. Bye.